Living forever. I mean, it's got to be the ultimate fantasy, right?
It's right up there.
Well, today, get ready to explore the science behind that fantasy. We're diving deep into the world of animals that seem to have, well, kind of sidestep death.
Yeah. We're talking about creatures that really challenge what we know about aging. Organisms that just might hold the key to understanding, maybe even extending, our own lifespans.
And we're not just talking about, like, living a really long time, like a tortoise, a few centuries, seen it all. This is different.
Totally different.
This is about avoiding aging altogether.
The potential is there.
And I think a perfect place to start is with a creature that can, get this, literally turn back its biological clock, the, quote, immortal jellyfish,
Yeah?
Turritopsis dohrnii.
This species is like the walking, well, swimming embodiment of age is just a number. Because for this jellyfish, it really might just be a number.
Okay, so break it down for me. How does this work?
So picture this. The jellyfish is, feeling the pressure, lack of food, maybe a sudden temperature change, whatever. It's time for a change. And what it does is, wild, it kind of absorbs its own bell and tentacles. Just becomes this blob of cells that sinks down to the ocean floor.
That's both amazing and slightly creepy at the same time.
Oh, gets even better. Because this blob, it's not dead, not even close. It transforms into a polyp. Right? Basically, this stalk-like thing attaches to a surface. And gives it, this polyp can then bud off new jellyfish, genetically identical to the original.
So it's not even living a long time. It's like cycling through multiple lifespans, potentially forever.
You got it. And you want to know what makes this possible? Stem cells.
Stem cells. The rock stars of the cellular world, we hear so much about them in human medicine and everything. What makes them so special in these immortal creatures?
Think of it this way. Stem cells are like the ultimate renewers. Your regular cells. They have jobs. They have a lifespan. Stem cells, they can become almost any type of cell. They're like the blank slates of the body.
So how does this actually work in the immortal jellyfish?
Okay, so during that crazy transformation back to a polyp, the jellyfish's cells basically revert. They go back to this more primitive stem cell-like state. And that lets them become all the different types of cells you need to make a brand new jellyfish.
It's like they figured out cellular time travel.
And the immortal jellyfish isn't alone in this stem cell game.
Oh, yeah.
Oh yeah. Take the hydra, for example.
Okay, I'm intrigued.
This little freshwater creature, it might not have the dramatic transformation of the jellyfish, but it's just is astonishing in its own way.
Right, I'm all ears. How does this hydra do it?
Imagine replacing every single cell in your body in just a matter of weeks. That's the hydra's life.
Sign me up.
Right. They're basically just tubes with tentacles. But they have this insane ability to continuously regenerate their cells. So they stay, forever young. In a sense, at least.
Forever, yeah. Okay, now that's something I can get behind.
And they do it so fast. A hydra can completely replace every single one of its cells in just 20 days. Every 3 weeks, brand new body.
It's like superpower.
And what fuels this constant renewal? You guessed it.
Yeah.
Stem cells. Their own set of these powerful little things.
So both the jellyfish and the hydra stem cells are key, but in different ways.
Exactly. Jellyfish stem cells for this whole cycle of rejuvenation. Hydra, constant, ongoing renewal, shows you just how incredibly versatile stem cells really are.
This is blowing my mind. We've got these simple creatures effectively cheating death with the help of stem cells. But it begs the question, if they can do it, why not us? What's the catch when it comes to humans?
Ah, the million-dollar question.
Yeah.
And honestly, we haven't cracked the code just yet. But these immortal animals, they're giving us some pretty tantalizing clues.
All right, so spill it. What's holding us back from this whole eternal youth thing?
Well, the thing is, our complexity might be working against us.
What do you mean?
Think about it. As organisms get more complex, like us humans with our intricate organs and systems, we seem to lose some of that cellular versatility.
So you're saying our own sophistication is holding us back?
In a way, yeah. We do have stem cells, but they're not the same. They're more restricted in their potential. Think specialists, not generalists.
Okay, so our cells are hyper-focused on one job, great for building a complex organism, but not so much for eternal youth.
Exactly. But here's another layer to this whole immortality puzzle.
Hit me.
Cancer.
Oh, right.
We're talking about constant cell division, renewal. Shouldn't these creatures be, well, overloaded with tumors?
Good point. How do they avoid that?
That's where these simple animals get really interesting. See, they've developed all these mechanisms to keep cell division in check. So even with all this regeneration, no tumors.
No tumors. Wow. So they figured out longevity, but they also figured out how to control that growth.
It's really remarkable. It's a testament to the power of natural selection. These guys have been fine-tuning these systems for millennia.
Makes you wonder what other secrets they're hiding. What about other examples? Anything else in the animal kingdom with crazy longevity?
Oh, tons. Take the lobster, for instance.
Lobsters,
Yeah.
those armored knights of the sea. What's their trick?
They don't do the whole body regeneration thing,
Mm-hmm.
but they can repair their DNA like it's nobody's business. And that's key for long-term cell health survival.
So DNA repair, how does that work?
Okay, so picture your DNA like a shoelace. It has these little protective caps on the ends called telomeres.
Okay, I'm picturing it.
Every time a cell divides, those telomeres, they get shorter, like a biological clock ticking away.
So our DNA is, what, fraying at the edges. And that's part of aging.
Exactly. But lobsters, they've found a way to relace those shoelaces, so to speak. They have this enzyme, telomerase, that can actually rebuild those telomeres, resets the clock.
That's incredible. It's like a fountain of youth, but for your DNA. No wonder they live so long.
Well, there's a catch.
Always a catch, isn't there?
Lobsters can theoretically live for a very long time, thanks to that DNA repair, but their own bodies work against them.
What do you mean?
They have exoskeletons. They're shells. They keep growing their whole lives, which means they have to molt, shed that old shell, grow a new one. And that takes energy. A ton of it. Eventually, it's just too much.
So even with their amazing DNA, they're limited. It's like they have the internal engine of a teenager, but stuck with, a senior citizen's body.
That is a perfect analogy. Their impressive longevity is limited by a simple biological quirk.
Amazing. Every creature we've talked about has a different strategy, right? Some way to combat aging, even if it comes with its own limitations. What about plants? Any ancient trees out there holding on to secrets?
Absolutely. Bristlecone pines. You'll find them in the western United States. Talk about harsh environments, high altitude, the works. But they're thriving. And they are old. Some of the oldest living organisms on Earth, actually.
How old are we talking?
Try thousands of years. There are some individuals out there estimated to be over 5,000 years old.
5,000 years. That means they were alive when the pyramids were being built. What's their secret?
The crazy thing is they don't even look old. They just keep growing, reproducing. For millennia. Scientists think it's a combination of factors. Slow growth, efficient with nutrients, incredible resistance to disease, damage, pests. Oh, and their wood. Super dense. Practically resists decay.
Wow, that's incredible. What a life strategy.
Right, and they're not alone. The ocean quahog, it's a type of clam.
A clam, seriously.
Yep, found in the North Atlantic. And they can live for centuries.
Okay, I did not see that coming. What makes a clam so special?
Well, they're similar to lobsters in a way good at DNA repair. But they also have these incredibly slow metabolisms, which could play a role in their long lifespans. There was one, nicknamed Ming, lived to be over 500 years old.
500. You're kidding. It seems like everywhere we look, nature has some new longevity trick up its sleeve. So much we still don't know. But it makes you think, what if we could unlock these secrets? Should we? I mean, extending human lifespans so drastically.
That's where the science gets really interesting. Because now we're wading into, well, the philosophical, even ethical implications. It's one thing to study these creatures, but to imagine actually applying it to ourselves, that's a whole other conversation.
So we've established that a lot of these creatures have remarkable longevity, even something approaching biological immortality. But to bring it back to us humans, what would a world with significantly extended human lifespans even look like?
It gets really mind-boggling really fast. Imagine it like societal structures, careers, retirement, families, everything changes because people are living so much longer.
It'd be like starting civilization over from scratch.
Exactly. And think about the implications. New forms of art, music, literature. Would we even recognize them? How would we handle resources, sustainability? It's not just about science anymore. It's about our whole existence.
Whoa, that's a lot to process. Maybe we should set those questions aside for now. But there's one more thing I keep thinking about. The psychological impact. If we knew we had centuries, maybe millennia ahead of us, would we even have the same goals, the same drive?
It's a question philosophers have been debating for ages. Would we become more thoughtful, more focused on the really long term? Or will we just freeze up, overwhelmed by all that time?
It's wild to think about. Like, on the one hand, more time to explore, learn, make a real difference, master new skills, chase your passions like never before. But would we lose some of that fire, That urgency that comes from knowing our time is limited.
And what about relationships? If they could potentially last for centuries, would we connect with people the same way, value new experiences as much? Or would we become, I don't know, more isolated,
Yeah.
stuck in our ways?
It's a lot to ponder, that's for sure. And, that's what makes the deep dive so interesting. We're not always going to have the answers, but it's about sparking that curiosity, getting people to think about these huge, mind-blowing possibilities.
Exactly. Sometimes the most important thing is just asking the right questions.
Absolutely. So, as we wrap up this deep dive into immortal animals, we'll leave you with this. The idea of humans living dramatically longer. Still science fiction, but these creatures, they show us just how incredible, how adaptable life can be.
It's a good reminder that nature is full of surprises and we're still figuring it all out.
Totally. And who knows, maybe by learning from these masters of longevity, we'll discover the secrets to not just living longer, but living better as well.
Couldn't agree more.
And on that note, we'll wrap up this deep dive. Thanks for joining us and keep those brains buzzing.